This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, let's start. Hope it's audible to everyone. Yeah, so please mute your speakers. Right. Okay, so in the last week, we have discussed about what basic statements in ABAP. We discussed about data statement, parameter statement, how to generate the selection screen, how to read the user input. Okay, so we have discussed all those things. Okay, so in continuation to this, today we'll see some more basic examples like how to work with looping statements. Okay, how to work with the looping statements. So every programming language contains what looping statements. Okay, so in ABAP also we have different types of what looping statements. Okay, suppose if you take our C language or C++ Java, we have while loop, do loop, all those things. So here also we have similar kind of thing. We have while, end while. Okay, we have do and do. Okay, do and do. Then we have what loop and end loop statement. Okay, these are the different looping statements. Okay, so let's see an example here. So my requirement is, see, whenever I execute my ABAP program, so this is my ABAP program. Right, so whenever I execute this, I should get a selection screen. So on executing my program, I should get a selection screen where I need to read the user input. Okay, so here we need to read the user input. So assume that I need to read a number from the user. Okay, assume I'll enter a number like what 6. Okay, so whenever I enter any number on executing the selection screen, I want the result to be displayed like this. Suppose since I entered the number as 6, I want the product of that. Okay, so it's very simple, but just we're trying to understand how to use a looping statement. So when I'm displaying this product table, I want some small change. Okay, suppose here, let me just print it. So here 6 into 4. Okay, so I want some validation that I need to skip the what fifth iteration. I need to skip the fifth iteration. Okay, so like this, it should continue till what up to what 10, something like this. Okay, so this is the overall requirement. So I'll just repeat this once again. On executing our ABAP program, okay, I should get a selection screen. Okay, on the selection screen, the user needs to input some value. Assume that I'll enter the value as something 6. On executing the selection screen, okay, I should display the product. Okay, I should display the product table. This output screen already we know. We call it as what? List processing screen. So you can assume like this is the output screen. Selection screen is nothing but what? Where the user is going to input the value. So this is our input screen. So when I'm displaying this product table, what is the validation I need to do here? I need to skip what? A fifth iteration. Okay, I should not display the fifth iteration, so I should get from 6 ones are to 6 fours are, then I should skip the fifth iteration and continue from 6 to what 10, something like this. So this is the overall requirement. So how do we achieve these kind of things? We can do it by using what looping statement. So most of you already know all these things, but again let us see out what is the syntax that you have to follow in our ABAP environment. So this is the overall requirement. Done. Okay, so I'll just connect to the server. Done. So I'll go to what ABAP editor. Where do we develop these ABAP objects? in SC38. So I'll go to ABAP editor, that is SC38. I'll give the object name. What is our object name? Z645 dot program 6 I'll give. Let me try to create. It is saying that 6 is already there. So I'll go for 7. 7 is also there. 8. Done. Okay. So I just gave some object name. Right. I'll click on the create button. Provide some title. Some title I'll provide. Some meaningful title. Done. Then what we need to do, we need to choose a type of object. What is the type of object in our case? Executable program. Okay, remaining things we'll be discussing as and when required. So as of now, I'll choose what? Executable program. So type of program is executable program. Let me click on save button. Done. Package. Okay, in which package you want to store? Since we don't have any package at this stage, let us save our object inside the local object. Local object is nothing but what? It's a temporary package provided by SAP. Package is like a directory, like a folder, okay, where we can store all your objects. So let me click on local objects. Done. So since I've chosen the type of program as executable program, I'll get it as what? Report. The program will start with what? Report keyword. Already we have discussed in the last week. Any program starting with report keyword, you have to understand that as what? Executable program. Done. Okay, let me remove all these comments. Fine. So what is the requirement here? Whenever I execute the program, I need to get a selection screen where I need to input the values. Okay, so whenever I input the value based on our execution, I should get the result something like this. So last week we have seen how do we read the input in ABAP by using what? Parameters. Okay, so those are newcomers. In case of C language, we use scanf for reading the user input. In C++, we use cin. Similarly, in ABAP, we use a keyword called as what? Parameters, which can be used for reading the user input. So I want to read a integer from the user. So I'll say, let me say parameters. Okay, and already we discussed parameter variable name. Generally you'll start with what? P underscore. You can start with any name. Let me start with P underscore. So I'll give P underscore. Some name I'll give it as something X. Okay, P underscore X, type I. Done. Okay, I indicates what here? Integer. So when I execute my program, let me save it first. Control S. Check for the syntax errors. Control F2. No errors. Let me activate the object. It is inactive as of now. Let me activate. Control F3. Done. Continue. Yeah, I'll execute. I'll say F8. How do we execute? F8, direct processing. So when I execute this, I got the selection screen where I can input the values. Okay, so what is that label I need to display? Enter a number. So we need to provide some meaningful information to the user. So how do we generate the text for this variable? Already we have seen last week. In the program itself, in the object itself, choose the menu. After activating the program, choose the menu, go to text elements, selection, text. Okay, choose the menu, go to text element, selection, text. Okay, here selection text. What is the variable name? P underscore X. Let me give the text as some meaningful text. Okay, I'll give it as something, enter a number, some text. Okay, activate your selection text, save it first, activate this. Done. Continue. Go back to your program, F3 button. Let me activate once again. So I got the what? A meaningful text here. Done. So what is the requirement now? User needs to provide some input value. Okay, so after entering the input value here, when I click on the execute button, I need to display the product of this particular number. And how do you make this field as mandatory field? Means without entering anything, if the user tries to click on what? Execute button, it should not allow me to execute. So I need to make this field as what? Obligatory field, mandatory field, compulsory field. How do we do it? In the last week we have seen we have to use a keyword called as what? Obligatory. Okay, so I'm using the keyword obligatory. Done. Let me save it, check for the syntax. Done. Right, so this, if I don't enter anything, if I click on execute button, I am getting an error here. Fill in all the required entry field. So this field is marked as what? obligatory field, mandatory field, compulsory, the user has to enter a value here. So let me enter here. When I click on execute, I should display the product of this particular number. So how do you proceed now? For reading the input from the user, I used a keyword called as parameter, in which variable we are storing the input value in the variable called as p underscore x. Now, what is the requirement here? On executing this selection screen, I should get the result like this. Okay, so we should decide how many variables I need to declare, what kind of variables I need to declare. Okay, so here, yeah, here, anyhow, suppose whatever the number I entered, I should display the product of that number. So how many variables I require here? I require one variable for storing this iteration value. Means I need to start from 1 and continue till what? 10. Understood? I need to start with 1 and continue till 10. And I require one more variable for storing the result. Understood? When I do some calculation, that calculated value has to be stored in a what? Variable. So I require two more variables. One variable for iterating, means I need to start from 1 and continue till what? 10. Another variable for storing our calculation. Okay, so I require two more variables. So how do we declare the normal variables? Yes, we already know we have to use a keyword called as what? Data keyword. Understood? For reading the input, we have to use parameters. For declaring the normal variables, we use what? Data keyword. Both are used for declaring the variables only, but data keyword will not generate any selection screen, whereas parameter statement will generate the selection screen. So I'll say data. Let me use a chain operator. Why I'm using chain operator? Because I am declaring multiple variables by using what? Single keyword. So data. I'll give generally, how do you start the normal variable? V underscore. You can give any name, but generally you'll start with what? V underscore, or in some projects we may start with GV underscore to indicate that is a global variable. What do we make global variable? A variable which has to be used throughout the program. Okay, which has to be used in different places in the program. So let me give the variable name as something V underscore some name Y type I, comma, let me declare another variable V underscore Z or V underscore RA some name. Okay, type what? I. So I declare two more variables of type what? Integer. Okay, done. So I declare two variables. Now what I have to do? I have to start from 1 and continue till what? 10. Okay, so how do we initialize this? If you take our C++ or Java also, how do we declare a variable and initialize it? Suppose I want to declare a variable integer. So how do you do it in C++ Java? You will say something like this: int x equal to 1. What is the meaning of this? We are declaring integer variable as well as we are initializing at the time of declaration itself. Similarly here also, how do we declare a variable and initialize? As part of this declaration only, I have to use the addition. I mean to say keyword called as what? Value keyword. Value what? 1. So why I'm initializing it to 1? Because I know that I need to start from 1. Okay, so initial value should be what? 1. That's the reason I'm setting it to what? 1. If I don't set, what happens? By default, already we know in ABAP, integers by default contains what? 0. Okay, but I want to start from what? 1. So I'll say what? Value 1. Done. Next, I need to start from 1 and continue till what? 10. I need to execute the same calculation again and again. Okay, so if you want to execute the statements repeatedly, we'll go for what? Looping statements. We'll keep those statements inside what? Looping statements. I repeat, when you want to execute certain statements again and again, those statements you'll keep it as part of what? Looping statements. Looping statement means the statements enclosed inside the loop will keep on executed till the condition remains what? True. Till the condition remains true. So here I'll say, yeah, so I'll use a while loop now. So I'll say while. So if you take our C++ Java, how do you write the while condition? I believe you'll write something like this. While, you'll write some condition, you'll open this flower brackets and you'll close it. This is the way we write while loop in case of our C++ or Java. Here you have to say while I need to start from what? 1. What is the variable which is holding that value? v underscore y. So I'll say while v underscore y, while v underscore y, okay, less than or equal to, okay, this is the what operator for what, less than or equal to what, 10. While y is less than or equal to 10, okay, how do we close the while loop? End while. There in C++, Java, we use floor brackets. Here we use what, while and what, end while. Done. So I'm checking the condition here. So what this while loop will do, it will check the condition. If the condition is true, if the condition is satisfied, it will enter the loop. So inside the loop, what I'll do, I need to do some calculation. What is the calculation I have to do? I need to perform the product, something like this. Okay, that is the number which you have read. I need to multiply with my iteration variable and store the result in some variable. So what is the other variable I declared for storing the result? V underscore res. You can give any name. I gave a meaningful name here. Done. So I'll say v underscore res is equal to, where you are reading the input inside the variable what, p underscore x. So I'll say v underscore res is equal to p underscore x into what, v underscore y. So I'm performing the product here. Okay, v underscore res is equal to p underscore x into v underscore y. Done. Then what I need to display the product now, right? I need to display the product. So I'll say right. Okay, right. Understood. What is the purpose of write statement? Just like in C language, we use printf for displaying the result. In C++, we use cout. In Java, we use system.out.println. Similarly, in ABAP also, to display anything on the console, on the list processing screen, we use a keyword. We use a statement called as what, write statement. And this slash indicates what, new line, right? So write chain operator, this column we call it as what, chain operator. Okay, right. What is that? I need to display the product in this format. What is that? The number you have accepted followed by into symbol, and then the iteration variable followed by this assignment operator, and again what, the result. So I'll say where you are reading the input, in which variable, p underscore x, p underscore x. How do we separate the variables and operators? Comma. Okay, p underscore x comma, I need to display this star symbol, product symbol, which is a character, so how do you display the characters? You'll enclose it in what, single quotes comma. What is the other variable? The iteration variable. In our case, what is the variable which is holding that iteration? V underscore what, y. So I'll say v underscore y. Done. Then comma, we need to separate the variables and operators by using what, comma. Then I need to display this equal to symbol. So again, it's a character. Okay, I need to put it in what single quotes comma. What is it? We have to display the result, in which variable the result is stored. In our case, v underscore res. Also v underscore res, and here you have to give what, period. In C++, Java, we use semicolon to indicate the end of the statement. Here in ABAP, we use what, period, which indicates what, end of the statement. Done. And every time I need to increment this variable with what, 1. So again, if you take our C++ Java, you will say something like this, v underscore y plus plus. So let me check whether I'll get any issues here. This is called as what, increment operator, which is valid in case of other programming language. I'm trying to use the same thing. What does it indicate? V underscore y is equal to v underscore y plus 1. So let's see what happens. Okay, I'm getting a red color here. I'm getting a red color which indicates what? It is having what? Some errors. So let's see what is that error. Okay, done. Okay, so this is my simple logic here. Okay, this statement keeps on executed till the condition remains what? True. So let me execute here. First I need to save it, Control S. Then let me check for the syntax error, Control F2. Yeah, I got some syntax error. What is that? Statement v underscore y plus plus is not defined. Check your spelling. So it is unable to recognize what is this v underscore y plus plus. It is saying that it is not defined. This is very much valid in case of what other programming language. But here we don't have any operator like what, increment operator or decrement operator. Okay. So let me just, okay, I'll close the error here. Okay, so I want to keep this statement as it is for your reference. So how do you comment? you have to use what star at the beginning of the line so that the entire line will be commented. In C++, we use slash slash, which indicates what the line will be commented. Comment means what? Which will not be executed. So here let me use what star so that the entire line will be commented. And how do you give the comment from middle of the line? We use what double quotes. Whatever you write after double quotes, it indicates what comment only. So for your reference, I'll just maintain one comment here. What is a syntax error? So when you practice your this program in your system, you try to uncomment this and practice so that you will get the error message. What is the error I got? Same error. V underscore y plus plus is not defined. Check your spelling. Done. I'll comment it. So also what? Star done. So what is the change I have to do now? V underscore y is equal to V underscore y plus 1. Understood? So manually I need to increment that. So let me execute, save it, Control S. Program is saved. Let me check for the syntax error. Control F2. Control F2. Done. And then I need to activate this. I need to activate this. It is inactive. So how do we activate? Control F3. Done. I'll execute this. F8. Done. Enter a number. I'll give the number as something what 5, some number. When I click on it, this is called as what? Selection screen, where the user will read the input. User will enter the input. Okay. So let me click on execute button on this application toolbar. This is called as what? Application toolbar. I'll click on execute button F8. Yes, I got the result. In C++, Java, the result screen we call it as console. Here we call it as what? LPS, list processing screen. Write statement will display the result on what? LPS, list processing screen. So I got the result here, 5 ones are 5, up to what? 5 tens are 50. Okay, so we'll come back to this later on. Let me go back. Right. So let us understand how this program is getting executed internally. Understood? I want to check the flow of what? Program execution. So last week, last class, I just started with what? Debugging. Understood? I just gave a glimpse of what? Debugging the program to understand the flow of what? Program execution. So in order to debug your program, what you have to do? We need to set the breakpoints. We need to decide from where we need to debug the program. Okay, so what I want, anyhow, these things I cannot debug because this comes under what? Variable declarations. Variable declarations cannot be debugged. Only executable statements can be debugged. So where are the executable statements? It is starting from here. So I'll put the cursor somewhere here, anywhere on the line, and on the application toolbar you can see we have a button set or delete session breakpoint. So let me click on set session breakpoint. Done. What it is saying here, session breakpoint was set. Breakpoint has been set. Done. Let me execute this. Right after setting the breakpoint, I'll click on what? Execute button. So what will happen now? Whenever the system encounters this breakpoint is the signal to the system. So whenever it encounters the breakpoint, what happens? The control will be taken to a debugging mode. Once a control enters a debugging mode, the developer can debug the program step by step, okay, to understand the flow of the program execution. So let me click on execute button. So this parameter will be executed. It will generate the selection screen. I'll enter some input value 6. I'll click on execute button. So whenever the system is trying to execute that while statement, on the while statement only I give the breakpoint. So it will stop there. It takes a control to a debugging mode. Once a control enters to debugging mode, we can start the debugging. So I'll click on execute. Done. Yeah, you can see the arrow pointer here. It is entering into a debugging mode. Okay, debugging mode. So I'm interested to debug now. What is this here? It is about to execute this current line. Before that, how many variables I declared in my program? 3 variables. One is p underscore x. Then we have what? P underscore x. Then we have v underscore y and v underscore what? Res. One second. Why others have not joined? Once again, let me check whether I have sent the mail to them or not. How many are absent? A total 12 members are there. One second, let me check. Latika, Vamshi, Jason, Ram, Surendra, Nilima. Okay, one second. I'll just check whether I sent the mail to them or not. Yeah, I've sent to everyone. Okay. Many of them are absent today. Fine, no problem. Okay, done. So what we are doing now, we are trying to debug the program. Yeah, so here you can see where is the control here. It is about to execute the while statement. Before that, what are the variables I declared? P underscore x, v underscore x, p underscore x, v underscore y, and v underscore x, v underscore res. What is the advantage of debugging the program? We can check the flow of our program execution. We can understand where the variable values are getting changed. Okay, so let me what identify the variables here. So I'll say p underscore x. What is the value of p underscore x? 6 here, because on the input screen I entered the value as what 6. Then I declare two more variables, v underscore y and v underscore res. When I double click on this v underscore y, yes, what is the default value of v underscore y? 1. And v underscore res I have not initialized, so by default it contains what? 0. Okay, so these are by three variables in the program. These are the current values of this particular variables. Done. So now the arrow pointer is about to execute the while statement. So how do we execute one statement at a time? Already I told in the last class, we have to press what? F5, single step. For executing single step, you need to press what? F5. Either I can click on this button which is there on the application toolbar, or I can just directly press the F5 key. So I'll press F5 key. What this current statement is doing, it is checking whether the y value is less than or equal to 10. What is the value of y? Current value of y? 1. Is 1 less than 10? Yes. Condition is what? Satisfied. Condition is satisfied. It will enter the loop. Am I clear? It will enter the loop. So I'll say F5. Done. So I'm pressing F5 here. Yeah, it has entered the loop. It has entered the loop. Fine. Okay, so why it has entered the loop? Because the condition is what? Satisfied. Done. Next, what you are trying to do here, we are trying to do some calculation. We are saying x into y. What is the value of x? 6. What is the value of y? 1. So it will perform this product and store the result inside which variable? V underscore what? Res. The current value of v underscore is what? 0. Done. So I'll say f5. Right, so v underscore res is what? 6. Done. Then I'm using the right statement to display the value of these variables x, y, and what? Res. So when I say f5, it would have displayed that result at the background. How do you check the output generated so far? On the application toolbar, you can see we have a button what? Display list. So when I click on this, I can see the output generated so far. So let me click on this. Yes, what is the output generated so far? 6 ones are 6. Done. Let me go back. Then what you are doing here, you are incrementing the y value with what? 1. So let me press F5. Yes, y has become what? 2. Okay, done. What is this here? It is what? Coming out of the, not coming out, it is ending this while loop. So since it is a looping statement, what is the logic of looping statement? They keep on executing till the condition remains what? True. So when I say F5, again the control goes back to while statement to check the condition. So I'll say F5. Done. Condition control is going back to the while condition. Y less than 10. What is the value of y? 2. 2 less than 10. Yes, F5. Like this, it will be repeated for how many iterations? 10 iterations. Understood? It will be repeated for what? 10 iterations. So how to come out, how to directly go to the 10th iteration, those things we'll understand later on going forward. So understood? As of now, just focus on what? F5. F5 will always execute what? Single step. There are other keys also. Okay, so I'll not discuss them at this stage because we are very new to ABAP. I'll discuss them as and when required. Just ignore these buttons for the time being. Right, I'll keep on saying F5 so you can see I'm pressing F5. It is keep on executing my while loop. Okay, so far what is the output generated? I got up to what? 6 sevens are done. Let me go back. Right, so now done. Right, so you can see the output so far up to I got 6 8s are 48. Done. I'll say F5. Done. Y is incremented by what? 1. Y become is what? 9. 9 less than 10. Yes, condition is satisfied. Done. Okay, it might have displayed up to what? 6 9s are 54. Done. I'll say F5. Current value of Y is what? 10. Is 10 is equal to 10? Yes, condition is satisfied. I'll say F5. Done. It will perform the product. It has displayed. Okay, I got up to what? 6 10 the 60. Done. Then you are saying Y plus 1. So when I say F5, Y has become how much? 11. Now again the control goes to the while loop. I'm checking the condition now. Y less than 10. What is the current value of Y in the memory? 11. Is 11 less than 10? No. Condition is what? False. Since the condition is false, it will not enter the while loop. It will not enter the while loop. It comes out of the loop. It will not enter the loop. So I'll say F5. Then it is not entering the while loop. Okay. So it is coming out of that. How do we come out of the debugging now? Press F8. Press F8. Then I got the result. So just we understood how the control is flowing in the program by pressing what? F5 in the debugging mode. How do you remove this breakpoint? Again, put the cursor, click on the same button, set or delete session breakpoint. Okay, so this is how we use what? While loop. But what is our requirement here? I need to skip what? Fifth iteration. I should get from 1 to 4 and I should get again from what? 6 to 10. But if you see the result, I got all the values. You enter any value here, I got 1 to 10 including what? 5. I need to skip this iteration, so we'll see how to skip it. But before that, any questions, please ask me. I know these are very simple, boring, but we are very new to ABAP. We should know how to use these statements also. Okay. Any questions? Please ask me. Syed, Manika, Shivani, any questions? Nilima?
No question on my end.
Okay.
Shivani just said.
Yeah, fine. Okay. So if you don't have questions, fine. So what was your actual requirement? I need to skip what? Fifth iteration. I need to skip the fifth iteration. So I'll do one thing. Let me keep this as it is. Okay. This loop, what it is doing? It is printing from what? 1 to 10. So let me keep it as it is. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll say uline. Already we know uline means underline. You'll get the underline, horizontal line. Okay. I got the horizontal line here. Now again I have to start from what? 1 and continue till what? 10. Okay, I want to start from 1 and continue till what? 10. But I need to skip what? Fifth iteration. So what is the current value of Y after coming out of the loop? 11. Since it has become 11, it is not entering the loop. The condition is false. So what I'll do is again I'll set back the Y value to what? 1. Okay, again I'm setting back to what? 1. I'll repeat these statements once again. So what I'll do here, I'll just copy it. Yeah. Okay, so since Y value is 1 again, I'll get from 1 to what? 10 once again. So let me execute. Yeah, I'll do one thing. Let me default the value here. How do you default the value for the parameter variable? Default, I'll say what? 6. So the moment the selection screen is displayed, I'll get the default value. If you want, you can change it, but if you want any default values, you can do it. Done. So what I got here again, I got from 1 to 10. Again, I got from what? 1 to 10. But what is the focus now? I need to skip what? Fifth iteration. So what I'll do here, I need to check the condition. So inside my while loop, inside my second while loop, I'll say here, just try to understand. If understood, already we know every programming language contains what? Conditional statements. Like C++ also contains what? Conditional statements. So here I'll say if v underscore y, okay, if v underscore y is not equal to 5, any indicates what? Not equal to 5. If it is not equal to 5, understood, then only go inside this if block, perform the product, display the result. Okay, and every time I'm incrementing the y value with what? 1. So first let me check the result first. Okay, any indicates what here? Not equal to 5. So let me save it, check, activate, done. Okay, I enter the number 6. When I execute, yeah, first time I got 1 to 10, next time I got what? 1 to 4, then again I got from what? 6 to 10. Okay, let me quickly debug this. Okay, so I'll put the breakpoint somewhere here. I'm not interested to debug this. It's not compulsory that every time I have to debug the whole program. My program might contain 10,000 lines of code. Okay, I may be interested to debug only a part of the program. So from wherever you want to start the debugging, put the breakpoint there. So I'll put the cursor here, right? I'll click on what? Session breakpoint. Done. So when I execute, right, so if you see the result so far, what I got? I got the result from 1 to 10. This is for the first while and while. Done. Now, what is the current value of y? You can see current value of y is what? 11. So I'll say F5. How do we execute one statement at a time? Press F5. Done. I'm setting back the y to what? 1. So 11 becomes what? 1. Done. Right? 1 less than 10. Yes. Y not equal to 5. What is the value of y? 1. Is 1 not equal to 5? Yes. If condition is also satisfied, it will enter the if block. Okay, I'm performing the product, I'm displaying it. Done, done, done. Again, y is how much? 2. 2 less than 10. Yes. 2 not equal to 5. Yes. Yes, it is entering the if block. Fine. Up to this is fine, fine, fine. Yeah, I got up to what? Yeah, 4 not equal to 5. Yes, 4 is not equal to 5. Done. I got the result. You can see I got up to what? 1 to 4. I got up to 1 to 4. Now what I am doing here? Y is how much? Y is how much? 5. 5 less than 10. Yes, while loop is satisfied. While condition is satisfied, it will enter the while loop. Now y not equal to 5. What is the value of y? 5. Is 5 not equal to 5? No, 5 is equal to 5. So my if condition is what? Failed. If condition is false. Since my if condition is failed, since my if condition is failed, it will not enter the if block. Means it will not enter this if block, directly it comes here. So when I say F5, done, control is coming to the next statement after what? And so it is skipping the fifth iteration. Done. So I'm incrementing the y value with 1. 6. 6 less than 10 again. Yes. 6 not equal to 5. Yes, not equal to. It will continue till what? Up to 10. So how do you, okay, what is the current output now? Up to I got 6 into 6. How do you come out of the debugging at any point of time? It's not compulsory that I have to debug everything. So at any point of time, to come out of the debugging mode, press what? F8. Right, so I got the rest of the result. So I got the result from 1 to 4, and I got the result from what? 6 to 10. Right, so any questions here? Any questions, anyone? Okay, done. Now can anyone tell me, do we have, can we write any other way, any other logic is available to skip the fifth iteration? I want the same result once again. I want the same result once again. I want to skip the fifth iteration. So apart from using the logic which I wrote, any other thing is there. Forget about ABAP. Just thinking as a normal programmer. If you take our C, C++, Java, can you write the same way in a different way so that I can achieve the same thing? Anyone? Srikanth, anyone? Do we have any other statement? Okay, I'll give a clue. Do we have any other statement to skip a particular iteration in a loop? Do we have any other statement to skip a particular iteration in a loop? Hmm? Okay, so let me show you that just here. Okay, again I'll say U line. Just to separate the output, I'm using these underlines. So again I'll set back the Y value to what? 1. Understood? Y value is again 1. Let me just copy the logic as it is. Done. So what I'll do is, just like in C++ also, we have that keyword continue statement. So now I'll say if y is equal to 5, eq means what? Equal to. If y is equal to 5, try to understand, I will use continue statement. I'll use a keyword called continue, and I'll say end if here. One second, let me close it. So what is the change I have done here? Whenever the y value is 5, I'm using what? Continue statement. Okay, so first of all, let us understand the purpose of the continue statement. What is the continue statement? Whenever a continue statement is executed inside a loop, what is the loop here? While and while. See, this if is not called as a loop. Don't say if loop, say if block. Loop means what? Where a set of statements are repeated again and again. Whereas conditional statement is what? Statement will be executed only once. Okay, it will not repeat. So what I am trying to use here, I am trying to use a continuous statement inside my if block. So what is the purpose of continuous statement? Whenever a continuous statement is used inside a loop, whenever a continuous statement is used inside a loop, the rest of the statements after continue statement, the rest of the statements after continue will not be executed, in the sense will be ignored, and the control jumps to next condition check. I repeat once again, whenever continue statement is executed inside a loop, the statements after continue will be bypassed, in the sense will be ignored, will not be executed, and the control jumps to next condition check. Okay, so here, when what I am doing here, when we have to execute the continuous statement, whenever the y value becomes 5, I am using what? Continuous statement. Okay, so what is the job of the continuous statement? Whenever this is executed, the rest of the statements in the loop will be bypassed, will be skipped, will be ignored, and the control jumps to next condition check. So keeping my sentence in mind, can anyone tell me what could be the result? Will I get that 1 to 4 and 6 to 10 output? Yes. Or what happens? Anyone? Will I get the same result what I got in the previous step, or anything else will happen? I repeat that point once again. Whenever continuous statement is executed inside a loop, the statements after the continue will be bypassed, will be skipped for that particular iteration, and the control jumps to next condition check. So what is the result now? Anyone? Shrikant, what is the result? Will I get from 1 to 4 and 6 to 10? It will skip the fifth iteration. Huh? Okay, let's see what happens. See here. No. So see here, when I execute, see what happens. I'm giving 6 here. When I execute, it will not display me the results. It is going for infinite execution. It is going for what? Indefinite loop. It is going for what? Infinite loop. Indefinite execution. Why? See here. Understood? How do you stop it now? It is going for what? Infinite execution. It will never stop. So how do we stop it forcefully? Whenever you get this kind of situations, when the program is not generating the output, and if it is going for infinite execution, to do the forceful stopping of the program execution, okay, on the top left hand corner, Okay, besides this program menu, okay, if you click on this, we have what? Stop transaction. Let me click on that, it will be stopped. Okay, so what is the problem here is here. Just try to understand why it is going for infinite loop means here y is how much? 1. 1 less than 10, yes, condition is satisfied. Okay, up to 4 is fine. I'll get the result. At certain stage, y value becomes what? 5. At certain stage, y value becomes 5. Okay, 5 less than 10, yes, 5 is less than 10, condition is satisfied. It will enter the while loop. Then I'm using if y is equal to 5, yes, y is how much? 5. Is 5 equal to 5? Yes. If condition is satisfied, it will enter the if block. What happens now? Continue will be executed. What is the job of continue statement? It will skip the rest of the statements in the loop for that iteration. Means whenever y is equal to 5, continue will be executed. It will skip these statements and the control jumps to what? Again to the while condition. In the memory, what is the value of 5? Again 5 only na? 5 less than 10? Yes. Again, if y is equal to 5, yes, y is equal to 5 only. Okay, again it will execute what? Continue. Again it will skip this statement. Again it will go there. Y remains how much? 5. Again 5 is equal to 5. Yes, so always y value remains what? 5. So it keeps on executing what? Continue statement. It keeps on skipping this statement. So always the value of the variable y in the memory remains what? 5. That's why it will never execute the results. If you want to debug, see here, I'll put the breakpoint. Okay, so far you can see the output. This is my first, this one, this is my second, this one, done. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so now see here, if you go back, what is the value of y now? 11. So I'm making y as 1, done. So up to what? Fourth iteration, everything is fine. It is not executing the if block, it is not executing the continue statement. Y is how much now? 3. Is 3 equal to 5? No, condition is false. It will not enter the if block. It is not, without entering, it is going to the statements after if block. It is executing, done, right? Y is 4 now. 4 less than 10, yes. 4 is equal to 5, and no. Yes, I got the result. So you can see the output here. Y is incremented to what? 1. Y becomes what? 5. See the output generated so far. Yes, you can see at the background it has printed from what? 1 to 4. Up to this is fine. It is generating some output at the background. Now y is how much? 5. Okay, F5 control is going there. 5 less than 10, yes, 5 is less than 10, done. If y is equal to 5, yes, y value is what? 5. If block is satisfied, it will enter the if block. It will execute continue. What is the behavior of continue statement? It will skip the execution of the rest of the statements. It will skip the execution of the rest of the statements. It will skip that. So if it skips, what happens? It will go to the next condition check. So when I say F5, see the arrow pointer here. When I say F5, control is going back to the while loop. Yes. 5 less than 10. Yes. Understood. Again 5 is equal to 5. Again continue. It keeps on executing. See, I am pressing F5. The same condition is keeping on executing. It is going for what? Infinite execution. The system doesn't know when it has to come out of the while loop. So it is going for what? Infinite execution. So let me say F8. Okay, I'll not get the result because it's going for what? Infinite execution. So let me do forceful act, what? Exit on the top right hand corner, left hand side, sorry, on the top left hand corner. If I click on this, I'll click on stop transaction. Done. So am I clear? So we should be very careful when you are using the continuous statement. So what is the adjustment I have to do now? If y is equal to 5, before executing the continuous statement, I'll increment the y value with what? 1. If y v underscore y equal to v underscore y plus 1. So whenever the y value is 5, if condition is satisfied, it will enter the if block. Y is incremented to 1. So y becomes how much? 6. In the memory, y becomes 6. And when I say continue, it will skip these statements for that iteration. Control goes here. 6 less than 10, yes. 6 is equal to 5 or no. Again, if condition will not be satisfied. If condition will be executed only once, whenever it is what? 5. So before executing continue, I am ensuring that y is incremented by what? 1. So see the result now. Yes, you can see the result. If you scroll down, yeah, 1 to 4 and 6 to 10. So here output is not important for us. We are trying to understand the purpose of which keyword here, continuous statement. So what is the understanding? Whenever continuous statement is executed inside a loop, the rest of the statements will be ignored. For that, the rest of the statements after continue will be ignored, will not be executed for that iteration. For that iteration, and the control jumps to next condition check. So here I'll give a comment for your purpose. If not incremented, what will go for what? Infinite loop. Means it will never come out of the loop. So this is the way to give comment from the middle of the line, so that by looking at this I can understand why I'm incrementing here. So like this in the real time also, for most of the statements you need to maintain the comments, so that in future if some other developer has to modify this code, by looking at the comments he can understand the program logic. Okay, if the comments are not maintained also, your code will not be validated. Understood? So in the real time when you're working in the big MNCs, you try to maintain comments for most of the lines to increase the readability. Okay, so that in future if any changes are required, just by looking at the comment we'll get some idea what changes we need to do. So any questions related to continue, please ask me. Okay, done. Right. So we understood about the purpose of what continuous statement. Now let me say uline. I'll say v underscore y is equal to again 1. I'm setting back to what? 1. Now let me introduce to another statement. Here only I'll just copy it. Yeah. Instead of using continuous statement, I'll use a statement called as exit. Okay. I'll use a statement called as exit. Okay. So after end while, I'll just give a message. Some message I'm giving after end while. So what this exit statement will do? Exit statement, whenever it is executed inside a loop, the control comes out of the current loop. Means whenever the y value becomes what? 5, I'm saying exit. So what it will do? Exit will come out of the current loop. What is the current looping statement here? While and while. Means I'll get the result only up to what? 1 to 4. So when I execute, you can see at the last what I got from 1 to 4, and I got the statement what after. And this is only to show you that it is not coming out of the program, it is coming out of the current loop. After coming out of the current loop, after while loop, do you any further statements? Yes, it is there. So it is executing that. So I gave this statement just to show you that exit will not come out of the program. In this case, exit will come out of the current loop. What is the current loop here? While and while. Okay, similarly I'll say let me set back this y to what? 1 second. Here I'll use what? Do loop. Okay, do loop. Okay, do. Okay, done. I'm incrementing y with 1. Okay, and here also what? End do. And somewhere here I'll say if v underscore y is greater than what? 10, I'll say what? Exit. And I'll say end. So I'm just trying to show you the syntax for what? Do and do. So again I'm setting back the y value to 1. It will increment, it will enter the do loop, it will perform this. Whenever the y value is greater than 10, we are saying exit. Again exit will come out of what? Current loop. What is the current loop here? Do and do. So here also I'll just give a message after do and do. Something, some message. Right? So when I execute, okay, when I execute, yeah, you can see the result here. right? I got what? 1 to 10. So what is the difference between while, end while, and do and do? Same difference whatever we know in other programming language. In case of while loop, first we'll check the condition. If the condition is satisfied only, it will enter the loop. But whereas in case of do loop, without checking any condition, it will execute the loop, it will enter the loop, it will execute the statements at least once, then I am checking the condition. So when do we go for do and do is, if you want to execute the statements at least once, we'll go for what and do. Okay, whereas in case of while loop, if the condition is satisfied only, it will enter the loop. But whereas in case of do and do, without checking anything, it will enter the loop, execute the statements at least once, checks the condition. If the condition is true, again it will iterate the loop, otherwise it will come out of the loop by executing that exit statement. That is the difference between what do and what and do. Okay, so this is your first syntax for your do and do. I can use the same do and do in another way also. Okay, so let me set the y value to 1. I'll say do 10 times. Do 10 times. Let me copy the logic. Okay, so here I need not use any exit condition. Done. Okay, so again I'm setting the y value to what? 1. Okay, do 10 times. So we are telling SAP how many times it has to execute. Understood? So here it depends on the condition, but whereas here fixed number of times. Understood? When do we go for this syntax is when you are sure that a certain statement has to be executed for fixed number of times, then we'll go for what this particular syntax. Here I don't know when this condition will be satisfied. So at that time I'll go for what first syntax. But whereas here, if you are sure that a certain set of statements has to be executed for a fixed number of times only, then we'll go for this particular syntax. So for your understanding, I'll just give a message here. Some message do and do. Second syntax. Okay, so when I execute, I'll get the same result 1 to what 10. Okay, so this is how we have to use while, end while, do and do. Difference between while, end while, and what do and do. Difference between exit and what continue statement. Any questions, please ask. Done. So we have another type of looping statement, loop and loop, but this I cannot cover at this stage. Okay, when we go to something called as internal tables, in that concept we'll be discussing what loop and what end loop. So till that time just ignore it, right? So we understood how to work with the looping statements, while, end while, do and do, and we understood the other keywords like exit and what continue statement, right? So if you don't have any questions, I'll wind off for today. Right? Sure then. So if you don't have any questions, I'll wind off. We'll continue tomorrow around same time. Okay. So for next couple of days also we'll see very basic things. Then we'll get into the actual ABAP part. Okay. Right then. So any questions for others, you please drop me a mail or you can call me, the newcomer. Okay. Shall I then? Shall wind off. We'll meet tomorrow.